Jews are forbidden from eating pork. They cannot handle pork or pig products. But if it was a life-saving medical procedure, could a Jewish patient receive an organ from a pig donor? In a medical first, doctors transplanted a pig heart into a patient in a last-ditch effort to save his life in America a few days ago. The Maryland hospital says the patient's doing well 3 days after this highly experimental surgery. It's too soon to know if the operation will work long-term, but it does mark a step in the decades-long quest to use animal organs for life-saving human transplants. Doctors at the University of Maryland Medical Center say the transplant, at the very least, proved that a heart from a genetically modified animal could function in the human body without immediate rejection. With us now is Rabbi Daniel Mann, a Jewish ethicist and scholar. Rabbi, thank you so much for being with me. I'll ask simply, could this be kosher, so to speak, for a Jewish patient? Could a religious Jew who needs a heart transplant to save his or her life, could that heart come from a pig?
Bottom line is absolutely yes, Jeff. There's absolutely no question that it would be permitted. The question whether it would even be objectionable in the first place. In other words, when we're talking about saving a life, almost anything can be done. Of course, there are certain ethical limits, but very few. Halachic restrictions of things to save lives. But over here, the question is, what is the problem in that the Torah forbids eating pig? It is permissible to get benefit from pigs. One can use, I grew up in America, talked about pigskin ball, it was used for a American pastime. Jews are allowed to benefit from pig parts. And in fact, it's not new in medicine that different non-kosher animals are put into the body for different forms, including from pigs. Insulin, it can be made from pig products. There are apparently, I was in touch with Professor Abraham Steinberg, a great Jewish ethicist here in Israel, who mentioned all sorts of things that are used. Pigs are used in heart valves. Can all be made, can and have been for years, made from pig and from other non-kosher animals.
So, Rabbi, can I ask, I guess, a bigger picture question then, separate from the pigs, just animals in general? I mean, this life-saving surgery for this patient in Maryland, it came from a genetically modified pig. Separate from just pigs, animals in general, is there religious text, or is there an ethical debate that guides whether or not animals can be genetically modified, can be raised specifically for the purpose of using their organs for human surgery?
Assuming that the proper ethical standards are used in dealing with the animals, raising them to use it in medicine is certainly at least and probably much more noble than doing it raising an animal or a pig or something else for a human being to eat it. So as far as that's concerned, halacha does not have a problem. Again, we're not allowed to cause unnecessary harm or pain to an animal, and steps should be taken. But just the fact that it's genetically arranged so that it's not rejected, that process does not necessarily cause problems. Again, I am not an expert in all of the ethical elements regarding this specific research.
Yeah, really interesting. Of course, life-saving surgery in Maryland, and touching off perhaps a new era in the future of medical research and surgical transplant options. Rabbi Daniel Mann, thank you so much for being with us on I-24 News. Great to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.